A couple of years ago, I was staying in someone's house in England, and this guy was like an evangelical Freeman, and he was sort of caught up in the whole kind of the early messianic stage, where everything is going to be wonderful. This is the beginning of a new world, and he was watching all the videos by the top Freeman. He was doing the whole thing, and he basically ended up subjecting his family to a life of incredible disruption and insecurity, based on this desire he had to take on the system and win. His wife eventually left him with the kids, and he's back. He's 48 years old, and he's now back home living with his parents, and he's on social welfare. He had a house. No, they were renting a house from I think the local council. He had that. He had a nice wife, two lovely kids. He had a life. He had a family, and because he got into this Freeman thing, he basically lost. In order to prove a point, he lost the most important things in his life, and I thought it was a great tragedy. And that was exactly what put me off the Freeman thing for good, like the inherent danger of it, the inherent incredible hassle of it.
Now, I don't see anybody who's up there on these platforms encouraging people to go through these processes in order to free themselves from the system. I don't see them putting an open blanket warning saying to do this and to do it right will destroy your life, invariably, in some way, shape or form. You might lose your money, you might lose your family, you might lose your sanity, or you might lose all three. Yeah.
And that's one of the problems I have with it, that the leaders of this movement don't actually say that. Now, we get these videos posted on YouTube where they'll show like Freeman victory or something like that. And a lot of them are very ambiguous. And a lot of them come from the early days of when the movement was taken off, 2008, 2009. And basically it was just saying, get this fucker out of my sight. I can't stand looking at him anymore. That's not a victory. That's almost like bamboozling the judge, who were ignorant of it at an early stage and were trying to get rid of you. Since that time, a lot of the staff, a lot of the legal people, the lawyers, the judges, the police have become very, very knowledgeable of the Freeman movement. So that initial sort of first strike, early days, successes, which are more out of frustration of the judge not now knowing how to handle it, are over. If you're trying that stuff now, you're going in there with almost no chance of survival. And it'll be so soul destroying. And there are some fellas who do enjoy that, but it can be so soul destroying. You have to ask yourself, like you said, is it worth it? Is it easier just to play the game? Like that's how I feel about the system. My attitude is I keep my head down. I'm a model citizen, and I've always have been in my own life, just because I don't need the hassle. Life is hard enough as it is without introducing more. And it seems to me there's almost a sadomasochistic quality to some of these Freeman guys. It's almost like they want that, as you says, that trauma-based mind control aspect of it. Before you consider going the Freeman route, ask yourself these questions, because I'll tell you why. I think the Freeman movement has been in crisis, and I'm not naming names here, and I'm not putting any people down. I'm just mentioning a fact. I think it's been in serious crisis ever since a couple of the leaders of the movement, after, years of telling us that, it's all a fiction and, you can beat the system, are giving press conferences from either inside jail cells or outside courthouses. This is not very reassuring to people. And yet there still is kind of hope that people see this and they can't put one and one together. And it says if the absolute expert, if one of the absolute experts on this is giving a press conference from a prison cell, then it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's as simple as that. And you brought up a very interesting point there. There's a certain element of Freemen that I've met, and they're not the majority, but I've met them, and they have a criminal nature in the sense that they have a hard man. They want to take on the law. They're looking for some kind of showdown with the law or something like that. And this is, like it's almost like they're looking for a confrontation. And these people are, they're loose cannons within that movement, I would imagine. And you do see them. I've actually went to a couple of Freeman meetings, and there was literally a small percentage of the audience every time were criminals who were trying to get out of a scam. As simple as that. They'd actually scam someone or something like that. And they just saw as this is one extended stage of their criminality.
It's funny you should mention that, because in 2010 I was involved with a guy named Shane Wenzel, who goes by the nomenclature Tane Rakau. He got allegedly adopted into this tribe. He sold them this story about, doing all this business and getting rid of the illegal fiction and doing their claim of rights and documents and everything. And he's been in jail for fraud a number of times. Not because, he's doing the Freeman thing and they manufactured evidence, because he was a frickin' fraudster. And he was doing exactly what Thomas implied, using things that were meant to keep you free to keep him in the criminal business.
And that's why people in the Freeman movement have to distance themselves from fellas like that, because they are there, because they go cha-ching, they see that, and they think it's a scam or a way to keep them out of jail or a way to get off charges. And they may have done some appalling things, and this is what they do. And that's one of the reasons it's not for me. There's a small element of shady individuals in it. The rest of the people in it are basically cutting into new territory, brand new territory, and they don't have a proper chart. And this whole thing, I got Black's Law Dictionary, which they carry. That's not going to help you. That's symbolism. That's just the trappings of this belief in the Freeman thing. But they're traveling into uncharted waters, and they're going, like you said, they're all going to be savaged. Every last one of them. None of them are going to get away with it. There will be no happy endings for any of them. And along the way will be a mountain of misery. And I know people are going to be listening to this now and saying, oh, Sheridan's a shill again. Oh, he's trying to put us all off our freedom. No, I'm just trying to tell you that life is short and life is stressful enough. And the best way to live your life is to keep as much shit off your back as possible. And when you enter into this Freeman thing, you're going to get so much shit piled on you, as well as the stuff you're going to have to deal with in your life, where people, die, or you have problems, or you get a divorce, or all these kinds of things. And along with the regular life troubles, on top of that, do you really want to add a whole new burden of sorrow? And that's my attitude to it.